If you were in altcoins 2017 or 2021, congratulations, you were rich. But if you were not, then we now have at least 2025, and it looks pretty freaking similar. So I want to go over, like, is this somewhat the same? Are we more in 2017 or more in 2021? Spoiler, we are in 2025. Hi, but is it somewhat comparable? That's what I want to take a look at. I want to overlay some charts, look like, hey, this looks a lot like this year, this looks a lot like this year. So what could that actually mean for the altcoin market? And let me do something very YouTuberish, but the answer may shock you. So let's take a look at that. Welcome to the FOMO Factory. My name is Menno. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's go over it as realistic as possible. I don't allow any Moonboy talk on the channel. I don't allow any perma bear talk on the channel. We want to look at the charts and see what can we realistically expect. And you know, sometimes the realistic thing sounds unrealistic, but that's why we're in crypto, right? You can make a 10x in a year or more. Like, yeah, hey, that's pretty crazy, right? Like, I'm not doing that on my bank account rate. So, okay. The ADHD pills are not working, dear doctor. Anyway, Bitcoin, $103,000 at the moment of recording. Tomorrow I'm gonna drop a video, I'm all over the place, about some crypto influencers you should ignore, block, shoot, whatever. Don't look at them. For now, Bitcoin 103, 104, holding up really, really well, actually, right? Like, man, I mean, this is kind of crazy. It went all the way up from 75k to 103k, and yeah, it's like pullback. What pullback, right? Like, it is really kind of crazy. Can we expect something like that? Yeah, I mean, the stochastic RSI is still pretty overbought, but then again, the last time it had a small correction, like was barely to be called a correction, was more a retest, and then went on its second run. You know, so I expect a decent correction at some point, but I don't think it's going to be too big, actually. And very simple why I think so is who the fuck's going to sell? There's nobody, right? Like, no, I don't think so. And I think people really start to understand, like, oh, this Bitcoin run could actually be a little bigger than we all thought. Yes, it's crypto, so it could. Right now, I want to make sure that I do something cool in this video, okay? I want to make sure that I am trying to cover as many charts that are still very accurate and try to come up with a very realistic scenario and still try to make you feel like, ooh, whoa, that's fucking crazy, right? Because a realistic scenario in crypto is fucking crazy. Therefore, it is crypto. So in some ways, you know, and again, this is 2025. It won't be like 2017. It won't be like 2021. But it has a lot of similarities with both cycles in their own way, right? And for Bitcoin, you know, yeah, it is clear. Like this is like this is just, man, look at this chart, right? Like crazy. We don't have to worry about Bitcoin, right? Just DCA Bitcoin. Now in the bear market, whatever, in 10 years, you'll be happy, right? That's the ultimate strategy that beats all these altcoin strategies, actually. However, for the people that do feel like, man, but this cycle right now, you know, for the rest of the cycle where altcoins are likely to outperform, I want to write that, but what can I expect? Let's check. So with the altcoin market now sitting at $280 billion, I must say, like, hey, this is looking really, really good, right? It's, again, still above this diagonal trend line that goes back all the way to 2018, right? Like, that's a long time already. Wick below it during COVID, but that was it. It wicked below it during the tariffs, but now we're back up again in a similar time frame as well. So, yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. The altcoin market is now above its bull market support band for the first time since January. What's even more interesting, by the way, is that if you look like what's kind of leading altcoins, well, ETH, biggest altcoin, the Ethereum dominance went above the bull market support band for the first time since July 2024. So that's almost a year right now. So you can say whatever you want, but the altcoin market is now showing more strength than it has done in the last year. And that's pretty nuts if you ask me, because during that last year where ETH was lagging, we still had an altcoin run in the end of 2024. So yeah, I don't know. If anything, I think that this could be crazy right now. How, what to expect, maybe, right? Like, are there again similarities? Well, there's this, right? There is the risk levels for Bitcoin. And as you can see right now, I don't know, these risk levels are based on metrics that Benjamin Cowen has made, but he didn't make public what it exists of. But hey, I mean, so far, if you sold the high risk, right, the red dots, and if you bought the low risk, then you did pretty well, sir, right? Like, so that works pretty fantastic. If you look where we are sitting right now, we are now sitting around the area, like we are sitting at 0.57. But we're floating between 0.5 and 0.7, give or take, right? That's where we are right now. Like, yeah, that is what we also have seen in this run up in 2020/2021. It's what we have seen in this run up in 2017, actually, in the same period, right? In May 2017, for a long time. So that's like, in this stage of the market, very, very similar. Not necessarily for 2021 or 2017, but just both. So we see that, hey, this is a good stage of the market. Now you might feel like, yeah, but hey, here we were there as well, or here, but it was like after the top. Yeah, but it's also a fact that if you apply these high risk levels, you see that we first went into these high risk levels as well, and we haven't been into that high risk level. The highest we went so far was 0.73, right? Not close to 1 yet. So that's more suggesting like, hey, the run for Bitcoin is based on this, only on this so far, not over, right? However, if we take a look at the market cycle peak ROI, so how did Bitcoin so far do from peak to peak, right? If we look at peak to peak, red is 2017, orange is 2021, right? That's how Bitcoin did. So from its first peak, it did not exactly, but a 3x from the last peak, right? 2017 was completely crazy, of course. It did like a 17x from its previous peak, right? Not even the low, but the peak. Crazy. If we look and overlay our current cycle, we are currently sitting at 1.5. Right, 1.5. Now, it is pretty cool that in 2021, we were sitting at 1.6 at this stage of the market, right? So if you look at where we are today, we are basically at the same level as where we were in 2021. It maybe take a little this time is different emotion off of the table, right? Because the people that say that this time is different doesn't work so well for them, right? And it's often, I think, an emotion. Well, here you go. Is it different than 2021? The road towards this, yeah, it's always different. But at the end of the day, fucking who cares? Like, we're there again, right? So, no, not really different, right? Now, you can see, though, that we are still pretty good on track with 2017 as well, because just like, when was this? April, like a month ago, we were exactly where we were in 2017 as well, right? And again, we go above it, we go below it, we go above it or below it. It doesn't matter. We are overall following the downtrend, following the sideways trend, following the uptrend. So, hey, that's hard to say. Like, does it look more like 2017 or 2021? Not sure. But I do know that we are so far following it pretty well. So that's a cool thing. Another thing when it comes to alts, this looks more like 2017. And there are more charts that suggest that when it comes to the altcoin market, it looks more than like 2017. Now, that's a good thing. As you know, Altseason in 2017 was, way bigger than what we have seen in 2021, right? Now, what looks based on this more like 2017? Well, the social metrics. So like I said a couple times ago as well, like, hey, I see people not subscribing to my YouTube channel anymore. What the fuck? What did I do? Turns out that if you only look at the YouTube subscribers for all the bigger platforms, this is at 0. So all these YouTubers, they don't get any new subs, right? Views, nah. People on Twitter, nah. Exchanges on Twitter, nah. Lay one's Twitter, nah. Right? It's pretty much at 0 right now. You can say, oh, that's bad. As it shows, the market tops when the retail is fully here, right? Why? Well, then our bags are getting pumped. We have somebody to dump on, and that causes that domino effect to the downside, right? Like now, who are we gonna dump on, right? There's nobody here, right? So, no. In 2021, at least that cycle, it never even went that low. It never went that low. In 2017, it did though, right? 2017, we also had moments where the social risk was at 0. And we saw it a couple times over here now as well. Was at 0 somewhere, if you zoom in enough. So when it comes to the amount of retail to ratio, of course, it looks more like 2017. Now, again, that's a good thing because the people there that are not in crypto, yeah, they can also not sell crypto, right? So there are way more potential buyers than sellers. Therefore, the alt season in 2017 went so crazy because you literally started like from a ghost town, right? And I get it. That's the scariest place to start from, for sure. Like therefore, there was especially the beginning of April, there was a lot of fear in the market. People were scared, man, and that's not that weird, as you are pretty much the only one here trying to convince yourself that you should be here, right? And a weird YouTuber saying like, hey, good job. Like, but that is always the best moment to buy, right? That's a fact. So a point for 2017, whoop-de-doo. If you look at the logarithmic regression band for Bitcoin, so the logarithmic regression band shows how Bitcoin moves based on the diminishing returns, right? So this band, as you can see, right, it goes up way harder here than what it does over here. But what you can see, and that's like what I do want to mention, it's still in the lower bands, right? So that's like saying like, hey, Bitcoin is a good buy right now, right? Like every time you bought into the green, right, that eventually turned out to be fine. But also every bull market, every one of them, no exception, Bitcoin not even went above it. It went way fucking above it, right? Well, way fucking above it right now would suggest 400K, right? And it sounds like, huh? No. I mean, it's a 3-4x, right? Compared to all the other returns in the last markets. That's the most realistic outcome. But apart from that, in 2021, well, it was actually 2020 even, we broke out of the lower regression band in December 2020, right? We are now half a year later. And that's maybe part of the reason that people feel like, it's different. This is different compared to 2021. Yeah. If we look at 2017, we broke out of this lower regression band in May. Hey, that's a 4-year cycle kind of thing over there, isn't it? Right? I mean, it's May 2025. Like, woo. So, sorry. So, this is suggesting like, hey, this is also looking more like 2017, right? And it could be that we don't break out in May, right? I mean, there's a good, like, that can. But so far, it's just like, yeah, I mean, this is what we did over here, and we got a 6 cycle, right? Like, it took a little bit longer, but when it took off, it like took off, right? So, hey, then we of course have a chart that I don't look. This is the Altseason index chart, and if you apply a moving average over this, you can get a little, when you clear out the noise, basically, right? I felt like, should I show this? Should I not show this? Because there is not much history before 2017 on this, so it's hard to show anything, right? But what we do see though is that we haven't had an alt season yet, right? And we never had a cycle where we didn't have an alt season, right? We had 2 of these pathetic things over here, right? And that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's what we had over here. We had it over here as well, and over here, and even a third, basically, right? But the real alt season came way later in the cycle, right? 2017, same. From May to August, basically, and we had a hard cool off. And then we just got some, well, almost a second alt season, to call it like that, a lot later, actually. At the end of 2017 until like, well, March 2018. Right? So, again, it could be that look, this is not going to point to the upside like tomorrow or anything. This is going to take a lot of time. And that's fine. Have a little patience, right? If this cycle is any different, I said it lately as well, like, then I think it has been moved a little bit to the right, actually. And more things are starting to show that. But it is at least showing that it's coming right now, in my opinion. Again, if you look at the risk levels once again, and you look at the Bitcoin dominance, and you can also see like, hey, flashing red over here, right? Flashing red over here. So there's a lot of room to go down. And it can happen very quickly, like this. Yeah, it could also be that we get a move down, a move up, and a move down, a little down, down, down. Like, that's what we cannot predict. But overall, a lot of things so far are showing like, hey, this could be kind of similar to 2017. Like I said, also because we in 2017 had an altcoin run a lot later in the cycle, and in 2021 it just kind of started right away when 2021 started. Right now, if you look at others Bitcoin, so this is alt season basically, right? What you see is we are currently still in a downtrend. Right, the altcoin market on its Bitcoin pair is still going down. It's now in a little bounce. We have to see, like, hey, is this what we're going to break right now or not? You know, you can say yes for a good reason. You can say no for a good reason. At the end of the day, we don't know yet. We'll find out. However, what you'll do notice is, though, that in 2021, the last cycle, right, we had this top. Basically, this was slightly higher, and we went down. And we made this low after 500 days, right? And you might look at this right now and be like, oh, I don't know, but now it's 1,200 days, right? It's fucking different. Yeah, but in my book, this wasn't really an alt season, right? This happened. Yeah, we were as good as back here, right? So if you do look at how long this took, this was almost 1,100 days. Right, so again, the path, the road towards it is different, but I think eventually the outcome will be the same. You know, will be the same. If you look at the Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, and USDC, and DAI dominance, so basically everything but altcoins, it's sitting really high right now. Right? And unfortunately, yeah, there's no data on how it looked in 2017, but we can definitely pretty much copy this chart, paste it over here, and it looks almost identical, right? Suggesting that this chart you know, can it go up first again? Sure, but eventually this will go down, and that would be that alt season. So this is more showing like, hey, what are we so worried about? I don't see it, man. I really don't see it. I really don't. Overall, though, I do think that it looks in a lot of ways like both cycles. But when it comes to alts, I see more similarities to 2017. Now, again, if that is the case, what could that mean? Not what would that mean, but what could that mean? Well, this is an example that I gave before, and I love this actually. If you look at some altcoins from 2017, right? So you can go on CoinMarketCap and look like, hey, what was the market looking back then? CoinMarketCap history. You can see Steam, for example, right? What happened? This doesn't look spectacular. I have it on a logarithmic scale. If you put it on this, then you get a little more perspective, basically. Now it's a lot, right? But let me put it back on logarithmic so it's easier to measure. For your information, this all happened during a bull run, right? I often got the comment like, this is not a bull run. Altcoins just went down 70-80%. Welcome to crypto. In bull runs, altcoins go down 70-80%. In fact, they can go down way more, and it is still a bull run, right? If you overlay Bitcoin right here, it's pretty clear. This was the bull run for Bitcoin, right? It was just going up, and of course, it also had its like, you know, let me see, can I change that? Right, it also had its dips, right, where it went from $700 to, can you imagine, to 500, but like nothing crazy, right? It was just a full bull market. In the meantime, this is a list of every coin, or not every coin, but every one of these coins was in the top 25 back then, right? Every one of them. So these were back then, the higher caps, not even the shit coins from back then. Look what Steam did. It came out. It crashed. 82%. If that happens right now, people will already declare it dead, right? 82%. Then it had a pump of 2,700%, right? Then it dumped with 98.8%. To put that in perspective, what's an altcoin that people might like? Ondo, whatever, right? Okay. Let me make sure that I'm prepared for this. Let's say Ondo in that period did the same, 98.8%, whatever. That's, that's here. That would have meant that Ondo didn't go to 67 cents, but to 2 cents. 2. That shows the difference between a 60% dump and a 98% dump, because, you know, that, yeah. So this is literally what happened in 2017. Literally. And people already now cannot handle this. Fucking pussy. But this is literally what happened, right? Ondo basically from $2 to 2 cents. So if you put $100,000 in it at the top, congrats, you now have $1,000. That's how wrecked you would have got, right? Insane, right? Yet the bull run continued and it went up with 14,000%. This is not an exception. Zcash came out from the bed. It went down with 99.93%. 99.93%. That would have put on, though, 1.5 cents. Right? And I can go on, right? There are better examples. There are also worse examples, right? But that's what happened, literally, right? And yet also this thing, casually 4,000% gain. This showed that price going down doesn't mean that things are dead, right? This just means everybody gave up. Everybody. like way worse than what we have seen right now, right? Everybody gave up. And the 1 or 2 people who didn't give up and who bought a little bit right here, there you go, right? So this is I hope this is the perfect example for thinking or for why you should not think like that this time is different, because you see what happens in that case. Like, you can get like, oh my God, man, crazy, right? But if this is 2017, it will be on a smaller scale, of course, right? Coins don't dump 99.9% and still be alive today, right? Like, if that happens, then it will probably be that. There was less liquidity back then. This was the first alt season. There was no charting or whatever people could use to say like, well, you know what, this happened before. Like, this was like everybody was gone, right? So, of course, it won't be on that big of a scale. But if something similar, if something similar is happening, actually, again, if you look at Steam, yeah, it pumped with 20x, it went down really hard, right? Like, if you see some coins, yeah, look, Ando is even a good example still, because that one was holding up pretty well, Render as well, right? But there are a lot of coins, like, I don't know, man, a Ronin or so, right? In this market so far, it pumped with, same by the way, 23%, which is funny actually, because I think that this is somewhat similar. Here you go, right? Pumped 20-25x, pumped 20-25x, and then it went down, in this case, 89%, right? A lot better than what Steam did. A lot better, right? And yet, people now feel like, oh, help, it's dead, right? Oh, again, so far, it's been following it pretty perfectly. And all there's left is now this move, right? If we can compare, Ronin, now after the dump, strong candle up like, 2x, right? Here, after the dump, strong candle, right? This was more than a 2x, but hey, strong candle in that recovery. Yeah, then if everything just goes on like it has been doing for the last fucking 1.5 decade, basically, well, let's say 1, then a pattern like this is what we can maybe expect. And, well, can maybe expect. You should expect it. You should not rely on it. But by now, you should also not say like, oh, that won't happen. Like, that won't happen. It's been doing that the whole time. Like, what makes you think that the last move doesn't happen, right? Like, but this is what we have been preparing for, right? This is what we have been holding on for and buying these lows for, for this phase of the market. So, if it does play out like 2017-ish, right? Then we can expect a lot. And again, it is not that weird, right? It is not that weird. If you look at the monthly candles here, for example, for Ronin, right? Very, like, just an example. Here, it had well, let me take it from the full candle. It had a 90% pump, right? 90. It's 2x. But that was when the price was $2.4, $2.5. And it was just easy peasy to pump it another 2x from that point in a month, right? Yeah, that's what I said before. Like, now we are so low, it takes nothing to pump. Like, you might be like, well, who's going to pump? It takes nothing to pump these coins. The liquidity is so much lower. You see that not too long ago, it's easily able to do that when there's like 6 times as much liquidity, right? And now we're here. The cool thing is, though, that if you overlay the total crypto market, you can see like, hey, well, it's not because of a lack of money in the market, right? Because there's now more money in the crypto market than what there was back then, right? So if anything, if the money now just rotates, we can see a very, very, very fast move. I'm not saying that we will, but hey, the money is already here. The liquidity is now lower. We can, for example, on this chart, have a God candle to $6, right? Yeah, that's insane, right? That's insane. Well, yeah, that's kind of how it went in 2017 as well. Like, it went very fast. If you look at its monthly chart, Here we had a recovery, right, of 60%. Then we had another green month of 60%, right? That's compounding a lot already. And then that got followed by a candle of 240%, right? And before you know it, you are up 15-25x already, right? And that's kind of how I'm looking at this right now. Like, okay, I get that in 2021 it was all more slow and steady, and the printers got turned on and the money was just flowing in, and people were like, okay, let me allocate. But now, again, the money is already there, right? In the crypto, just the total crypto money is already there, let alone the money that is going to flow in from people's bank accounts and money prints, etc. But even if not, it's already there. And on certain alts, the liquidity is now a lot lower than when it was easy able to pump with 2x, while it had a lot more liquidity from a market that had a lot less money. So therefore, I think we should keep in mind that it is possible that we see a very quick rally this time. And therefore, it might take a little bit longer this time as well. But the rally that we do get could be quicker and way more explosive. Way more explosive. And therefore, I think, like, okay, that's another point for 2017, right? If you look at, at 2021, like, it was bottom, right? Up, down, recovery, up, slow but steady, and a somewhat of a vertical phase right here. 2017 was more like long. Okay, let's set off. Pause. Okay, set off. Right. So that's a kind of 2017 ish thing. And also, if you look at the altcoin season chart, basically, right? Again, 2021, it was like from this point where it really started, in my opinion, it was at the beginning it was vertical, and after that it was like more diagonal, horizontal, just slowly grinding up. 2017 was like bam, like what the hell, man. And that's where the real money flows in like crazy. And again, you should not ignore the fact that again, the money is already here, right? So the only fucking thing that if you think that this is not gonna happen is by saying like, okay, Bitcoin has to completely shit the bed, right? Completely go into a bear market. And the possibility is always there. But if you ignore, or if you look at, well, anything basically, the insane adoption and everything, and then I don't think it's very likely. Or the Bitcoin dominance has to keep on going up, right? Yeah. I mean, if you're still on that train by now, then I don't know, man. I saw somebody in the comments say you can't learn donkeys how to fly, and I think that fits perfectly. I mean, yeah. So the only thing that we actually need in order to make it look like 2017 is purely Bitcoin staying up, not even going up from this point, but just staying here, and the dominance going down, right? Well, again, Bitcoin at least staying here. I mean, look at this chart, man. Come on. And the Bitcoin dominance going down. We saw the risk levels. We know how the Fed is pretty much pivoting as we speak. We know how are we getting closer into the post-halving year's seasonality in the first place. How the double bottoms are formed on the altcoin dominance, how the weekly stochastic RSI is pointing upwards, how the Bitcoin stochastic RSI is now pointing downwards, how the bi-weekly even starts to look like, okay, we're getting overbought right here, and on the regular RSI, how the dollar got slapped down and is now like somewhat elevating, like how the Ethereum dominance is coming off of and the only place where it have ever been in such an opportunity, and this candle is more than convincing in my opinion. It's not just a bounce. This is really strong. Yeah, this fucking crazy. So it is all, yeah, now I make it more about Altseason, but I really want to mention, like, now, like, yeah, there are YouTube channels that has been calling Altseason for the last 2-3 years. Yeah, that's idiotic, of course. But if you are now in the camp, like, you don't want to outsmart that, like, oh, these YouTubers called for it, so it's not going to happen. There is a certain time in the market where it is going to happen, right? And now everybody is in the camp like it isn't going to happen, so it probably will also. That backs it up narrative-wise. But the more explosive things, and this is what we see with ETH already. Even ETH is explosive, right? ETH went up, the dominance for ETH went up with 27% in a month, right? If you look at ETH on the dollar pair, it went up with 45% in a month. Right, last time that happened was in November. Again, everything points back to that. Like, I don't know if you have seen previous video. If you're new, hi, I am this guy. But if you've seen previous videos, like, everything is pointing like, wow, this is similar to like that November run, but probably a bit bigger, right? But this is not what we see that often. So if even Ethereum, as the highest cap altcoin by far, could be that explosive, yeah, then give me a bunch of just quality alts that are lower cap, like it just shown, or an AVAX or whatever. It can get out of hand, right? It can get really out of control. So yeah, I do think overall that this cycle has similarities with 2017. Now, I got asked in the Discord on a private call with somebody today. He said, like, hey, do you expect a double top and to kind of, you know, trade that, like to sell that, so it may go away and come back? I was like, nah, I use GTFO. Again, there's a link in the description. It's free, by the way. No sign up as well. It's just really helpful to plan my exits, right? That's just what I use. And whatever the market is going to do in the mean, as long as I get my exits. Because to be honest, I don't know if we're going to get a double top or not. It could be that we're making a top, you know, somewhere later, and that we're getting another top somewhat like that in December, right? Like we did in 2021. But again, I feel in some ways a little more attracted to the whole 2017 thing. And in 2017, yeah, it was not a double top, right? It was the most blowy off top that you can get, basically. And it could be that it's something like that again. So I also want to give you the not financial advice, like, hey guys, make sure that you have your exchanges ready to cash out, that your KYC, that your bank approves you, right? Like that you don't have too many coins, know where you have them all in one place, be ready to sell like within an hour or two if needed, right? Because yeah, there are certain situations where you just don't get the time to think and to prepare in the middle of the heat. But so far, yeah, again, with the altcoin market, I mean, we are, in my opinion, kind of far from here. If you look at the RSI, how hardly this was flashing here, yeah, we're not even close to it, right? Even in this first run up in this bull market where everything 10, 20x, we weren't even there. So yeah, in that case, I feel like, okay, it might be that this move is gonna be a lot bigger than we think, right? So I don't know. Be on the lookout for that, at least. I want to leave it there. If you do also, by the way, want to get on a private call with me or watch exclusive videos, follow my portfolio, a lot of other things, there is a link to the exclusive Discord down below through WAP. It's a couple days free. Just join, check it out. If you like it, you can stay. If you don't like it, then go away. No problem, no charge, right? But that's where I really try to invest some time in the community that you know really wants to take that step extra by, you know, getting some more insights. Because even in a bull market, it's not that, hey, we're getting a bull market, I'm gonna make money. No, why do you think so much people are getting really rich in a bull market? It's because a lot of other people lose, right? That money has to come from somewhere. So don't assume that you're going to make it, right? You will if you apply the right things. And luckily, we're playing not a lot against a lot of people, and the people that we are playing against, it's usually not like a very bright tea light in their brain. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like the video. If you subscribe to the channel, would appreciate it. Turn the bell notification on. Don't miss it, man. Don't miss it. It's going to be exciting. I'll talk to you guys soon.